diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Ben Hladik, who's a linebacker out of the University of British Columbia. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's been an interesting week. Had the opportunity to actually talk to a few Canadians and get their name out there. So it's great to actually sit down and talk with you. Why don't you just kind of give us a brief history, man? Tell me maybe where you're from and just a little history about you as a football player.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I'm from a small town in the interior of British Columbia, Vernon. It's kind of in between two bigger cities, but it's about 40 to 50,000 people. And I always grew up here my whole life. Went to high school at Vernon Secondary School, played football there from grade 8 to grade 12. And from there, went to UBC. I have five brothers, two stepbrothers and one stepsister. So a pretty big family. But everything's been going well so far with me here during COVID and training lots, getting ready for the virtual combine coming up soon.
Yeah, I mean, you're actually probably listed on most people's boards as one of the top Canadian prospects. I mean, CFL prospects. Um, good career, really, there at UBC, where you were named to the All Canada team twice. And in 2018, you were named Canada West Defensive Player of the Year. So obviously, a lot of scouts in the Canadian area already know who you are. But I mean, some people, maybe in the States really want to know who you are because, I mean, let's just face it. I mean, they're going to want to get the best talent they can, just like anybody. One of the interesting things, I mean, obviously, you bring some pretty good size to you, about 6'4", 240 pounds, which makes it kind of interesting because, I mean, you're a linebacker. But tell me maybe what you believe is like the best thing you bring to the table, maybe one of your best attributes. Just kind of describe you as a football player. Are you a linebacker? What kind of a linebacker? Just chat about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've played linebacker for the past 2.5 seasons. When I first actually went to UBC, I played 4 or 5 games at defensive end. And then someone was injured and I went back to play linebacker and actually never went back to playing the end, besides here and there, depending on the front we're playing. But,
Great. So, I mean, basically, you've been, I'm assuming, the middle linebacker ever since. I mean, is that kind of the role that you've been playing, like there in the middle, or are you playing like outside at all anymore?
Yeah, I've been playing mostly in the middle because of my rangeness. Like I'm 6'4", so I easily get in passing lanes. And
okay,
sorry, you broke up there for a sec.
That's fine. So
easily get in passing lanes in the range. Like,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Going up against O-linemen, I can stick my hands out and they can't really reach me at 6'4". So, and my ability to move kind of separates me to that size from playing the end.
Great. So, I mean, basically, you do have a little bit of versatility to you. I mean, you can, stay there in the middle, or you can even play outside in some people's schemes, which I think is great to have some of that versatility. And even again, like you do have some experience playing defensive end. So, in some schemes, maybe like in a 4-3 scheme, you might be able to step in there and continue to do so. I mean, because again, I mean, a guy at your size, 6'4", 240 pounds, I mean, that is a fairly decent size there if you want to, be a pass rusher, in that 4-3 scheme. We've had a bit of a journey. We haven't seen Canadian football in over a year. Obviously, we had this pandemic kind of hit us, which was really unfortunate. Just chat with me a little bit about when you heard about this pandemic kind of canceling the season. I mean, how did that really affect you and maybe some of your decision making, moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, very beginning, there's a thing kind of with East-West Bowl. So all the top third year recruits for the CFL, NFL go to play a game there. And that was the first thing that was canceled for the Canadian season. So that was disappointing to not getting to go there and show all the scouts what I can really do. And then I actually moved home um, middle to the end of March, moved back in with my parents actually, and lived there for a couple months until I got married. And I actually live with my wife now, which has been the best part of COVID so far, is actually getting married. But football wise, it's definitely put an interruption in my career, I think, but gonna make it through it and keep pressing on.
Well, I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, you kind of have to move on in life, even still. I mean, with the pandemic happening, I mean, I think it's great that you got married, and obviously, moving in with your wife is kind of important when it comes to that.
Mhm.
So, kind of cool there. But you did have the opportunity to come down to the states, go to Texas, and attend the College Gridiron Showcase. They invited you to that event. Talk to me a little bit about your experience attending that event, and any sort of stories that you want to share.
Oh, it was definitely worth going for sure. I took the trip to Texas and I stayed there for 3 days. The first day we were there, they had seminars, that kind of stuff. They went over, like, taught us financially and what to expect when you play in the pros. And that was definitely a good opportunity to see what that's really like. And then the second day, that continued, and some interviews with CFL and NFL teams. And the third day was on the field in the morning. And that's really one of the main parts. I went down to show that as big as I am, I can still move really well. So I think I really gained experience from doing that and kind of showed what I can actually do.
Great. So, I don't know if you have a number, but I mean, like how many different teams were you able to actually sit down with?
Um, a couple when I was there, and then after I ran, they kind of were surprised by how I could actually move. I think just a big kid coming from Canada, they weren't really expecting too much. But then after they saw me move, I've had more teams reach out to me in both leagues, so it's definitely an exciting time.
Interesting. So, when they actually sit you down in those interviews, did any of those teams like kind of give you any crazy questions? Sometimes they throw these questions at you to kind of figure out what's going on up here.
Mhm.
Anybody give you any wild question that you want to share, like any crazy experience there?
Not really question wise. We did do this thing. It's kind of like concussion test, like testing your reflexes, but it was like juiced up. Like they explained it to us as like concussion test on steroids. Like it was made to mess you up. So that was definitely the hardest mentally part about it, but no really weird questions in the actual interview process.
That's good. I mean, I'll try my best not to ask you anything too off. So I mean, we'll kind of stick to like the basics during this during this time. Um, so, Ben, I just kind of want you to I don't know, just share with me a little bit about you on the field. Show people that you are a student of the game, and maybe tell me about an experience when you were studying an opponent leading up to a game, and it really played out very well in a game time setting. So again, talk to us more about you in the film room and how it played out.
Yeah, definitely. One place sticks out to me actually. We played University of Alberta in the middle of the season. It was because in Canadian game, everyone can move all over the place. But I knew as soon as this guy, a certain player, added to the line of scrimmage, a certain lineman was going to pull. So I kind of cheated over that way as soon as I saw him adding to the line of scrimmage and shot the gap where I knew the guy was going to pull, and ended up actually making the tackle in the backfield for a 3 yard loss, I think.
Great. And kind of along those same lines there, I mean, what do you believe has been like, I don't know, maybe the most memorable moment of your career so far, like your best highlight, maybe best game that you want to share?
hmm My best game was probably heading to the Hardy Cup in my first year, just because we were in the first year of a lot of rookies. We were all pretty close. And to make it to the Hardy Cup, we actually ended up losing on a 59-yard field goal. But it was definitely yeah, it was definitely a good experience getting there. But my best highlights, I think, would be my pick six against Saskatchewan. It was a 50-yard pick six, and it helped us eventually win the game. So that was definitely one of my favorite highlights of my career.
Yeah, definitely a great moment to see a guy like yourself. I mean, just kind of going 50 yards down the field and getting that score. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to be kind of cool. So obviously, with a guy your size, I mean, able to move, all the way down the field and score is definitely showing people that you do have some great athleticism. And hopefully, during your time down there in Texas, I mean, you've showed a lot of people, really what you can do. So I guess the next thing that we have on the docket is pro day. Tell me a little bit about your pro day and maybe some of your I don't know, goals, or maybe some times or something that you're hoping to
Mm.
achieve during your pro day.
Yeah. So I'm been training in Vernon now for a couple months, working up to the pro day. It's the beginning of April, within the first week. So I've been going to a gym, training house in Vernon. It's like an athletic gym here. So we have the big turf area, all the treadmills, all the racks, all that kind of equipment made for sprinting. So I've been training a lot, just working on my speed, because I feel that's the main thing scouts want to see from a guy my size. But hopefully run a low 4.640. A couple weeks ago, I ran a 4.66 laser. So hopefully bring that down a bit more just to show that I can run.
Cool. So 4.66 laser. I'm gonna go ahead and write that down just so that I
Yeah,
could
for sure.
do that. Any of the other numbers that you are trying to achieve that maybe you want to share? I mean, for
Mm.
some people of your size, I mean, they want to know. Obviously, you had mentioned the 40, but I mean, any of the other drills that maybe you're training towards, or maybe even you're not doing at your pro day.
Mm. Well, definitely on the bench, I'm trying to get 30 reps. I'm at about 27 right now.
Wow, that's
So I want to
pretty good.
show, I want to show the combination, obviously, of power and speed. But and then we're going to be doing the 3-cone and the shuttle and the broad jump. So I have the numbers in my head I want to hit. Obviously, over 10-foot broad jump, over 36 vert, and low fours in the shuttle, and low sevens in the 3-cone.
Wow. So, I mean, all those numbers, I mean, those are very great numbers that can compete with really a lot of guys like across, football. So,
Mhm.
I think it's great that you're able to do those things. And I guess whenever we do have those official numbers, we need to make sure to get those out to all these scouts that
Mhm.
really need to learn who you are.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. I'll be videoing everything and sending it out for sure.
Nice. So tell us just a little bit about yourself outside of football. I mean, what kind of a guy are you? Anything that you want to share about yourself, whether it be you and what you've achieved as a student, or any of your aspirations or interests outside of football.
Mhm. Well, definitely pretty interested in being outdoors. Like, love going snowshoeing right now in winter and skiing and skating. And then once it transitions to spring and summer, I love hiking and being outdoors, like going to the lake and just being outside in my spare time pretty much.
Gotcha. So, and obviously, like you had said before, I mean, just recently got married, so you're probably spending all those times, out there with the new wife.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
great. Hey, you got to get out there and soak it up while you can.
Yeah, yeah.
So, got a question for you. If we were able to go back in time, maybe to your high school days, and you were able to maybe give some advice to your younger self to prepare him for the next 4 or 5 years, what sort of advice would you give him?
Probably just to keep working at it, like coming from a small town in the nobody place, and not nobody place, but nowhere place, what I meant to say, in interior of BC, where no one really knows about too many athletes coming from, is just to keep working, and that it's going to work out. If you work hard enough, they're going to find you, just like what's happened to me right now. So,
Yeah, I mean, you figure, I swear, like each and every year, the NFL will always find one diamond in the rough out of Canada and give them a shot, and he ends up starting and doing well. Maybe it'll be you. So
mm,
we'll see what happens. After we know with the draft and all, whenever that hits us. But As we begin to wrap up, I do want to give you the opportunity to give some shout outs to some people that have really helped you along the way. Anybody, family, coaches, teammates, anybody that you just want to give a little bit of love to. Not too many, but just a handful.
Yeah,
Not necessarily
for
from your.
sure.
Go for it.
Yeah. I mean, I could go about this all day, but definitely my family, like my dad, has never doubted me from when I first started playing football. Always told me to just keep working. My brothers, who went out to the field and played pass with me and did one-on-ones and all that. And my coach in high school, Sean Smith, always believed in me in high school, always watched extra film and all that stuff, put me in positions where I could get to the next level and believed that I could get to the next level. And my teammates along the way, always pushing me to be better in practice, in the gym. And definitely my wife, like, wouldn't be where I am without her. We've been together for 5 years now. We met in high school and got married last year, and it's been the best decision I've made so far. So
Great. Well, I mean, obviously marrying your high school sweetheart is definitely kind of nice. So, um, and I always ask guys the why question, even though it's corny and sometimes I get like the same answers. But I mean, I do want teams to know why you play football, and just your motivation. So go ahead, give me your why.
yeah, my why would be just the love of the game, like the mentally challenging aspect of it, the physically challenging aspect of it, like having to better yourself to compete with the competition and competing for jobs and competing against the other teams, and just always being in a tough situation and having to find a way to work it out, and how the game challenges you and gets you ready for later in life and be ready for anything that's going to hit you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, uh, I mean, I think a lot of people love this game. So, and that's again, I think that's what a lot of people just want to hear. I mean, does he love the game? Is that what's most important to him? Which obviously it seems. And very last thing for you, Ben, is I want you to give your pitch to all these professional teams out there, whether they be in Canada or in the U.S. I mean, tell them why they need to take a chance on you and draft you. What kind of teammate would you be?
Definitely a very dedicated teammate, like dedicated on and off the field to making the team as best as I can be, whether it's on defense or special teams, no matter what position I'm put in, just make plays. And definitely there's not too many guys my size and as athletic as I am to be put on the field and make plays like I can make. And just love the game and just always want to play it and want to help the team out in any way I can.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, I mean, obviously, as I'm sitting here chatting with you, I mean, really a couple of things, kind of pop out. I mean, obviously, number one is your size. I mean, you've got excellent size, where I could probably, move you around to a few different spots there on the defense. But as you said, I mean, you're probably going to do some special teams work as well. But again, 6'4", 240 pounds, I mean, very formidable size. We could put you in the middle or outside or even there at defensive end in some schemes. Some of the stats that you have had during your career, which I think are very good. You had 31 tackles for loss, 7 fumble recoveries. So, I mean, you're actually, obviously making a lot of, great decisions out there on the field. I mean, and obviously turnovers are big. So, I mean, if you're getting those turnovers, you're making a huge impact on the outcome of the game. So people know that that's something that you do bring to the table. But Ben, this has been great. I appreciate your time. And I really think a lot of people need to get to know you and what you're able to bring to the professional level. So
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
you're welcome. Again, this is Ben Hladik. He's a linebacker out of University of British Columbia. Definitely check him out.